time, we're supporting a lot of adult children, and when their parents are dying, all sorts of conflicts and past emotions, and Paula knows this in the social work field, comes to the surface. And our social workers and our chaplains have a difficult time dealing with some of those adult children issues as well.
Oh, wow. Can you share some with us?
Well, when people are growing up in a family, they have their places, the firstborn, the child, the lastborn.
Right.
And you think when you get to be an adult that maybe those things are still, they go by the wayside.
They're not important. Yeah, they are important, huh?
They are important, because if you're in a crisis situation or you're anticipating the loss of a parent, then some of those same issues come back. There's push and pull and tug back and forth between the siblings about what should be done, what shouldn't be done, who's going to be the caregiver, who's going to do all of the different things. So it certainly can be a challenge. A lot of times we bring the families together to just try to do some talking and try to figure out what a plan is, because it can get a little overwhelming for the family, especially if there's a local person who's been caring for the family member, and someone from out of town comes in that hasn't been home for a number of years.
Right.
They go back to some of the old sibling issues that they had as children sometimes.
That seems to be common. I have a friend, a lady I used to date, and her mom died, and then she was writing me from Georgia, where she moved, and she was complaining, and her sister was actually the one taking care of their mom as she was in hospice. And the lady I knew was writing me about, she won't stop complaining. I think I need to take care of both of them. And I was thinking, you're not the one doing the work. But I guess there's this interesting dynamic that happens, and you must see it all the time, huh?
That's right. That's right.
The one thing that I think is most comforting is the idea that there's help, whether it's spiritual or medical or regarding pain and all of those things. Is it? I know what I want to ask you. The transitions program, and I know this because my parents had lived in Citrus County. They didn't have that program over there, but they have something like it here. What is that? What is the transitions program?
Well, it's like a pre-hospice program, and it is for people that have a life-limiting illness, but it is a volunteer program. We do have someone in our office that coordinates it, but it is a volunteer program. People are called on. We talk to them, and just to kind of check on them, see if they're getting to their doctor, do they have any needs that we can provide resources for. It's a very good program, but it is considered a pre-hospice program.
And when you say volunteer, does that mean it's not paid for? Or is it paid for through Medicare? How does that work?
Well, it is... some of the donations that we get do go toward that program.
I see. Okay.
So it would not be a Medicare or a Medicaid program.
And what is the qualifications for hospice? Is there a diagnosis time limit involved?
Yes, a patient has to be referred by their local doctor, and we've tried to encourage our physicians to refer when a patient may have 12 months or less. We're lucky if we get physicians to refer when they have 6 months or less. And I was thinking on the way over here, we really do our best work as hospice caregivers when we have people long enough so that we can build a rapport. They know our face, they know that we care, they know that we're there to support them. And so many times we get people really at the very end of their lives, and we don't have that rapport, that chance.
You have a lot of community events, a lot of fundraising events, a lot of awareness events to make the people in our community aware of what hospice does, and you always have an open door policy. So would that be a good idea for people, even though that might be really far from their mind, just to come in to see what you do, to ask their questions just in case, and to participate?
We have, as a matter of fact, we have coming up on November the 3rd an event that is a fundraiser for our programs called the Steel Horse Stampede.
Oh, that's a wonderful one. It's
And
fun.
you can ride a motorcycle and bring a friend and get to ride around the county, and it's a great fundraiser. I usually volunteer for that, so there's a lot of people that they
You
have
don't look like a
questions.
motorcycle chick.
Well,
I didn't know that either.
I do registration.
You do. Leather? Do you have leather? Oh, she's not saying it. She's got an image to maintain.
There you go.
I can see. It's such a serious topic, but it's good to have something light. Do you find that? I mean, do you have families that are just naturally lend to jovial? You know, they're jovial even in the face of death.
You know, Larry, when I do my orientation for our new staff and our volunteers, I try to bring that up. We are not, as you said earlier, we're not about doom and gloom. We want people to live their lives to the fullest.
Yeah.
And I tell our volunteers and our staff, everyone enjoys a good joke. You can even tell a joke on yourself. And sometimes the things that people go through at the end of life, the losses, it hurts so much you might as well laugh. And there is a serious side to it, and we don't go in as clowns, but we do go in respecting where people are. And you mentioned, the dreams that people have a minute ago. I want to tell you just a quick little story. I had a guy that had come to us out of Shands years ago, and he had a brain tumor, and I'd met him and his wife. He was really at peace with his life and his fate. On a Friday afternoon, the nurse called and said he's beginning to push his family away. Well, I went out to meet him and to talk to him again. And what he really wanted, he didn't want some grand reconciliation with God. He wanted to be reconciled to his son. He and his first wife had had this boy.
Oh, wow.
They had broken up.
Oh, my goodness.
He had lost contact. And I asked him for permission. I had a volunteer that helped me find him probably about the time Google came out. We were able to find him in Galveston, Texas. I was able to call him and just simply say, do you know where your father is? And he said he's somewhere in Florida. And I said, well, he's on hospice and he's dying, and he wants you to know that he's okay and wants to know that you're okay.
Oh, wow.
His son called several times that weekend. The patient found out that he had 2 grandchildren that he didn't know he had, and he died peacefully on Sunday afternoon. And I was able to tell that story to his friends and family out in his garden the following weekend. So that's just a little about what I do in spiritual care, is seeing those dreams come true, not just going to Disney, but...
Well, and I think that's the more important dream, isn't it? Yeah, I had I was doing a program here, and an instant message came across that an old friend had died, and he was younger than me. He was like, what was he, 50 or 53?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
53.
And I knew last time I saw him, his voice hadn't even changed yet. That's how far back we go. And he was from New York. And when I saw that he had passed, I thought, wow. And then I found out that he really was gone for 4 years because he had Alzheimer's. He must have had onset very young, right?
Mm-hmm.
So obviously he had been going through something for a long time that... I guess you see a lot of that. I don't know. Are we seeing? I don't know. It's a dumb question. Never mind. I can hear myself asking a dumb question. I will stop myself before I ask it.
That's okay.
Hospice of Marion County is all over Marion County. Do you have many offices, or do you just travel from that one?
Well, we have a main administrative office near the mall on Highway 200, and then we have 4 different hospice houses that are located in the southern part of the county and the west part of the county. And then we have a equipment company and a pharmacy building that we have.
And to get into hospice, or to have hospice helping you, do you need a doctor's prescription or something?
Yes, you do. Your doctor we have to have a certification from a physician that you have less than 6 months to live.
And then,
okay.
do you have a doctor on staff then that takes that prescription and then actually goes to the person that needs the hospice care to do their evaluation?
Well, we have a number of doctors that work for hospice. They can either be the primary physician for our patients, or they can keep their doctor that they have had in the community for years. It doesn't make any difference.
Sometimes we see that hospice puts out a call for singers to come in to hospice patients, whether they're in one of your houses or in their own home. To me, that is very, very insightful, because music seems to make everything right in a person's life.
We have a group called the Journey Singers, and one of our team assistants, who used to be a choir master, started it with our volunteers, and they sing for us at our memorial services that we have, and then they go to our hospice houses, and they've visited people in their own homes too, and they sing, traditional and spiritual and whatever the person likes. Whatever the person likes, they'll sing it for them.
Do you avoid getting close to the people?
You mean our patients?
Yeah. Do you personally say, I'm getting too close, I better let somebody else do this? Or do you allow yourself to get as close as...
I think as caring professionals, we have to maintain our compassion.
Yeah.
And I don't think hospice hires robots to do this kind of work. But at the same time, we realize our professional limits, that we can't control everything that happens. And as chaplains, and I know Paula in the bereavement department, we continue to see people after the person passes away and see the family and support them.
Right.
I'm going down to Florida National tomorrow to support one of my families and do a burial at Florida National for one of my military men. So, and this is something we do all the time.
Yeah.
That seems to be where you really shine sometimes, Paula, is that bereavement counseling, because you're actually able to get the people who have lost the loved one back into the land of the living, and that has got to be very difficult.
One of the services that hospice has is to provide bereavement for 13 months after the death.
13 months, wow.
And within that time, we can do individual support. We have grief support groups. We have memorial services.
Oh, wow. We
have a children's camp. It's called Camp Mariposa, and it's coming up at the end of October. And we have children from the community and children that have had a loss through hospice participate, ages 5 through 12. It's a day camp that we do on a Saturday. And it's a lot of fun for the kids. We have fun thinking about the laughing. We do laugh. We have some serious parts. But we have a good program that we've done for a number of years with our children. And we have a memorial service that's just brand new that we're going to be doing December the 9th, which is going to be called Never Forgotten, Always Remembered. And people in the community are going to be invited to come to that. And it will be at our hospice center, which is near the mall. So we have a lot of different programs.
So what do you say to somebody, or maybe the better question is, what do you not say to somebody who's lost somebody? Let's say I'm not part of the circle, I'm not the family, but I know, a friend or somebody lost somebody. There's the one scene that comes to mind from the movie.
I know, Steel Magnolias.
Yes, where the woman goes up to the other woman and says, "Don't worry, she's in a better place."
Right.
And she says, "I don't want to hear that. I know she's in a better place, but I miss her." And it made me think, "Oh man, well, what do you say to somebody?"
Like I said before, when we go visit people, we're there providing a presence more than we are our words.
Yeah.
This is the most I talk in a week. I really don't talk that much. When I go to my patients, I'm there as ears and I'm there to listen. I don't think it's as important what we say. We definitely don't want to say things that do not connect to a patient. Maybe a patient is struggling with the whole idea about God, as we talked about before.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's God's will. I don't want to say, like you said, they're in a better place. I need to feel out where my family is and offer them the support that they're able to hear at the moment.
I think you're being honest. I've looked at this too. I have my beliefs, but if you ask me to tell you, swear on a Bible that you know it to be true, well, there's one thing in the Bible that says you shall bear no false witness. So if I say I know it's true, I'm breaking that commandment. because I don't know anything. All I know is what I hope, and what I sort of believe. No, what I believe. I guess the word "sort of" doesn't belong there. But so, what do you tell? I mean, how do you help people understand what to say, Paula?
Sometimes I do. One thing I would say, I would not say, "I understand how you feel," because I don't. And even if...
But that's an easy one to say, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Even if it's, say you lost a spouse, and the person's lost a spouse, yes, there are going to be similarities, but you still don't know exactly how they feel, because your experiences and your lives are different. So I might say, I'm sad for your loss, or, tell me how you feel.
Right. My sister passed away, and my sister was the youngest of the 5 siblings. And I remember people saying to my mom and dad, "Well, you got you got the 4 boys still, right?" And I remember thinking, "Oh boy." Now I never heard them complain once, but I remember thinking, "Oh yeah, that's got to be the wrong thing to say."
Yeah.
That's right.
I mean, it's even okay to say, I don't know what to say.
Right.
That's probably the best thing to say. Because, again, it's honesty, right? I don't know what to say.
You're trying to be honest, and you're trying to be supportive. I was with a lady whose husband had passed away recently in our hospice house, and she says, "I can't leave him. I can't leave." And my simple response was, you have a lot of memories. You have a lot of memories in your heart. You're not leaving him. He's with you. Now, that might have been simplistic, but I could not think of anything else on my feet to say to her at that moment.
I got you. Yeah.
And you just have to be sympathetic, and you have to be willing to care, and definitely guard against saying something that might be hurtful.
Right.
Sometimes you have the person that's the caregiver for one parent, and then they're a caregiver for another parent, maybe for a spouse or a sibling, and then all of a sudden, time passes, they all pass on, and then that caregiver doesn't have anybody left to caregive for, and they have to just live their life for themselves. How do you make them feel like they're worthwhile going through every day, being themselves, doing something?
Well, certainly grief is a process, and it's something that people have to walk through, and there'll be ups and downs, and we kind of companion with that person and support them, and we help them kind of figure out what in their life might interest them, maybe to try something new, a new role, maybe to volunteer, to try something different, and support them in the new challenges.
The comfort and wisdom that I feel from anybody I've ever met with hospice is unparalleled. I have a question I've never asked anybody with hospice before. Have you? Well, because I'm thinking about the people. Like, there was a accident in the news. There was 2 accidents in the news this morning. Those people died right there. I mean, they didn't have a slow decline. They're here 1 minute, gone the next. Those families are grieving too. Do they ever would hospice be available to those families? Is there any way that they could be helped?
One of the things that happens is if they are involved with law enforcement, sometimes law enforcement will give them our name and number. They certainly are welcome to come to. We have a monthly program that's a one-time program that talks about grief and loss. We also can refer people to different resources in the community, and they're also welcome to attend our grief groups. So we do blend our hospice families, and our community families in our groups. However, that type of traumatic loss might require some additional support that maybe we can't provide, but we would refer them to someone else if that's possible.
All right, we're at the end of the half hour. We're a little bit over. I apologize for that. Do you want to give us some phone numbers if somebody wanted to contact you? Are they different? Do you have the same number, both of you?
It's the same number. You can call 873-7400, which is our hospice main number, and you can ask for bereavement, or you can ask for patient care, or our admission team. If you ever have a question about should my loved one be admitted to hospice, you can call our admission office and ask for support. We also have a center for palliative care, which one of our doctors takes care of. And if a person is in pain in the hospital, we can help to address that pain. They might not be qualified for hospice yet, but we can help to address that pain even in the hospital.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. Well, thank you both for coming in. Paula, let me get your name right. Paula Hill Goetz, right? And Warren Thompson, thank you both for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Larry always refers to hospice as God's angels here on earth, and you two definitely are two of those angels.
That's very nice. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We'll take a little break and be right back.
In specialty crop news from the Southeast AgNet, well, our tomato growers could use a little bit of good news right now. Reggie Brown with the Florida Tomato Exchange has just that. As he says, starting Wednesday, October 8th,